Evening, I would probably normally make a joke about Nancy Pelosi, but she's no longer in charge of the Democrats in Congress. It's AOC's house now. Just the other day, we were going over for votes, and I was walking over with Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, and we always go to the same floor to vote, and one of the other doors or floors opened up, and off she went. I just reached out and held the door until she realized about 20 feet, came back, and we went on up to vote. But Nancy's not in charge of the place anymore, and I don't really understand. It's really hard for me to understand some of the new blood that's coming into the Democratic Party. What shouldn't be hard for us to understand is having Republicans go to Washington, D.C. and do what they said they would do. And that's what we're going to continue to go. Listen, President Trump has come in with a strong agenda. He's come in with a strong agenda about pro-life. We have had more pro-life legislation passed in the last 2 years than we've had in the last 40. Isn't that a great victory right there? It was about 2 years ago that I sat across the dais from Cecile Richards, who was the Planned Parenthood director at the time, and asked her only one question. I said, Ms. Richards, does it bother you that there are more African-American babies aborted in the state of New York than actually born? That's right. You think about that. So we are winning some battles in this. Now this Born Alive, some of you have heard about this new bill that we're trying to pass in the House. Can you imagine and just think about that a single Democrat will not support that right now? That if a baby somehow survives abortion, that you wouldn't be required by law to sustain its life? This is what we're talking about these days. Number two, Trump's agenda on the border. Let me tell you, this is not a manufactured crisis. This is an emergency. I was talking and questioning Secretary Nielsen the other day, our DHS secretary, and here's the numbers. Since the last administration, the migrants that are coming this way have increased 572%. 1 out of 3 of those young female migrants are assaulted behind the border. Another thing, we've had enough fentanyl to kill 2 times the American population, and you hear some of this pushback against the ICE. In 2017 alone, 906 children were rescued by ICE. You think about that. They are doing their job. I agree with President Trump's, yes, I agree with President Trump's agenda on the judges. We are getting rid of these activist judges. In fact, we've got a pretty good judge here tonight, Justice Newby, do we not? Justice reform, I could go on and on. I was a pastor for 16 years and left that ministry behind 5.5 years ago to run for U.S. Congress. Married to a wonderful lady, a nurse trauma practitioner who flew for many years on the Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center, the air care program there. We have been blessed. But I am telling you, I am seeing some hope. I'm seeing some things that have turned around. What we used to think was a pessimistic moment, who could have predicted that Trump would win? Who could have predicted that we would see some of these changes? And it is because of some of the involvement at the local level. Making America great again is not just a moment. It is our future and the way we give our children and grandchildren the future that they deserve. We can have a better tomorrow, but it takes work at the grassroots level. It takes people not willing to quit to engage. I'm a big history buff, and I remember reading about Napoleon. Now, Napoleon is amazing. At 26, he was already a general. Some of our military manuals still study his military tactics. Well, we'd have never heard of it because at one battle in his early days, they were losing and getting the rear ends kicked pretty well. And Napoleon made the decision. He told his commanding officer, he said, "Sir," he said, "sound the retreat." After about half an hour, nothing happened. The enemy was still gaining ground. He ordered it again, nothing happened, and if you read about Napoleon, he was quite a temperamental gentleman, we would say. So he took matters in his own hand, made his way down to the front lines, and he looked at that young man, he said, "Sir, you were ordered to play the retreat." And the young boy looked back at him, he said, "Sir, you never taught me how." He said, "The young man played the charge." They went on to win that battle, and as we know, as we say, the rest is history. We can make a difference. We can do more than make an argument. In fact, we're called to do more than make an argument. We're called to make a difference. We are beginning to see it. Continue to send members of Congress and elected officials to Washington that will do what they said they would do. The Apostle Paul put it this way in closing. Do not grow weary in well-doing, for in due season you will reap if you do not faint. God bless you. Thanks for letting me say hello this evening.